On March 15th, 44 BC, the heart of Rome trembled as Julius Caesar fell at the hands of those he once called colleagues. In the next few minutes, we will reconstruct the events that transformed a republic into an empire, an unfolding drama of ambition, deception, and destiny. Join us as we return to that pivotal Ides of March and examine how one act of betrayal altered the course of history forever. Julius Caesar wasn't always the target of conspiracy. He was a military genius and a political powerhouse. Born in July of 100 BC into a once influential but then fading patrician family, Julius Caesar's rise was neither predetermined nor accidental. His early life was marked by political upheaval. Civil war roiled Rome when he was but a boy, and his uncle by marriage, Gaius Marius, clashed with the conservative Senate faction led by Lucius Cornelius Sulla. When Sulla emerged victorious, young Caesar's life hung in the balance. He was spared execution only by the intervention of well-connected friends and a hint of clemency from the dictator himself. Yet adversity honed Caesar's ambition. Caesar understood that to ascend Rome's ladder, he needed not only patrician blood, but also popular support and military glory. Rising through the ranks with a mix of brilliant military strategy, savvy political alliances, and the support of the Roman people. His keen intellect won him the role of Pontifex Maximus, chief priest of Rome, in 63 BC, an office that placed him at the heart of both politics and religion. His subsequent governorship in Hispania, and then his extraordinary command in Gaul from 58 BC onward, cemented his reputation. Over 8 relentless campaigns, Caesar subdued tribes across modern-day France and Belgium, sending staggering riches and slaves to Rome. By 52 BC, his reputation rivaled that of any living Roman. His timely intervention to relieve the besieged town of Alesia not only crushed the Gallic revolt led by Vercingetorix, but also broadcast Caesar's prowess as a strategist and leader. His own commentaries, the Commentari de Bello Gallico, painted him as Rome's savior, a master of both pen and sword. Returning to Italy in late 50 BC, Caesar faced a Senate that viewed him with envy and fear. His political allies, Pompey and Crassus, the so-called First Triumvirate, had splintered under the weight of ambition and mistrust. Pompey had aligned more closely with the Senate's conservative faction, while Caesar's demands for legal immunity and consent to stand for consul in absentia were rebuffed. Standing at the banks of the Rubicon River in January of 49 BC, Caesar confronted a choice that would determine Rome's fate. To cross meant civil war, to retreat meant political oblivion. He famously declared Alea iacta est, the die is cast, and led his Legio XIII across the shallow water. The act shattered legal barriers. Caesar was branded a traitor, and yet his gamble proved swift and decisive. Within days, he had secured nearly all of Italy, bypassing pitched battles through bold diplomacy and speed. Pompey fled to Greece, and by 48 BC, Caesar had pursued him into the eastern provinces. The decisive clash at Pharsalus saw Caesar's veterans outmaneuver a superior Pompeian force. Pompey fled again, and ultimately met his tragic end in Egypt. While Caesar stood triumphant, soon to be declared dictator for life by a Senate intimidated or seduced by his authority. As Caesar's power grew, so did the alarm within the Senate. For centuries, Rome had prided itself on its republican values, having abolished the monarchy long before Caesar's time. Many senators began to worry. Was Caesar really paving the way for a new form of kingship? His actions, consolidating power, appointing loyalists to key positions, and even wearing monarchical symbols like the purple robe, fed these fears. Even during the festival of Lupercalia, when Mark Antony famously offered him a crown, Caesar's refusal did little to quell the suspicions. For some senators, including his once close ally Brutus, these were clear signs that Caesar's ambition could spell the end of the Republic. The idea of preserving the traditional Republican system became so urgent that a deadly conspiracy was hatched. The conspirators chose March 15th, the Ides of March, as the day to act. Despite several ominous warnings, including a famous soothsayer's caution to beware the Ides of March, Caesar ignored these premonitions and made his way to the Senate at the Curia of Pompey. It was here, amid the hallowed halls of Roman governance, that Caesar's fate was sealed. As he took his seat, the group of senators, led by Brutus and Cassius, surrounded him. In a brutal attack, Caesar was stabbed 23 times. The most chilling moment came when, amid the chaos, he supposedly uttered the words, "Et tu, Brute?" a cry of disbelief and sorrow upon seeing Brutus, a man he trusted, among his assailants. In that moment, the symbol of the Republic fell, and the echoes of betrayal reverberated through Rome. But what did the conspirators expect? They believed that by eliminating Caesar, they would restore the glory and traditions of the Republic. Instead, the act ignited a firestorm of public outrage. Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal friend and confidant, turned the tide with a masterful funeral oration. His words, immortalized in Shakespeare's rendition, rallied the people, turning them against the conspirators and setting Rome on a path of irreversible change. Antony not only incited the crowd with his passionate plea, but also read Caesar's will, revealing generous gifts to the people of Rome. This further cemented the idea that the conspirators had betrayed not just a leader, but the very heart of the Roman nation. What followed was chaos, a series of power struggles that would plunge Rome into civil war. The conspirators, now outlaws in the eyes of many, eventually found themselves at odds with Caesar's supporters. Key battles, such as the Battle of Philippi in 42 BC, saw the eventual defeat and tragic end of both Brutus and Cassius. With the demise of the conspirators, the vacuum left by Caesar's death was quickly filled by a new power, Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir. Rising from the turmoil, Octavian, who would later be known as Augustus, skillfully navigated the political landscape. In a series of decisive moves and battles, he defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and by 27 BC, established what would become the Roman Empire. This marked a fundamental transformation. The Roman Republic, with its centuries-old traditions and checks on power, was replaced by an imperial system that centralized authority in the hands of a single ruler. The empire would go on to shape the course of Western civilization for nearly 5 centuries. Today, Julius Caesar's assassination is more than just a historical footnote. It is a timeless reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition and the complex interplay of power and betrayal. The phrase Ides of March has become synonymous with forewarning and impending doom, resonating through centuries of literature, art, and political discourse. Caesar's dramatic fall serves as a cautionary tale. It reminds us that political change often comes at a tremendous cost, and that the quest for power can lead to unforeseen consequences, altering the course of history in ways that still impact us today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most defining moments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another deep dive into our past.